Hello guys, I'm back from another video in series what if Deku was in RWBY. So in the last video we talked about how after Izuku woke up he would start getting ready for the start of the initiation. Before that he would start, going on a little jog, basically going through the campus. And after doing all of that, the area would start becoming changed, more specifically where they were, sleeping at. They would start eating breakfast, as after eating breakfast, they would start leaving and changing into their battle clothes, or in this case, Izuku's, I guess you say wandering outfit. So, after doing so, he would see, both Weiss and also, Pirate Nika are basically talking, and after, going to their position and basically, asking them if they're okay, or, telling him good morning, they would start blushing at him. Mostly because after seeing his real face, well, let's just say they're instantly smitten with him. But they're still pretty much, awkward and pretty much, how do we say this? Yeah, let's just say, embarrassed. And so they would basically, hear that the good witch is basically telling all of them to get ready and go to the cliffside. So, after arriving at the cliffside where, Emerald Forest is, they have been told that they're going to be, let's just say being dropped off there, or more specifically launched there, towards, the Emerald Forest. And after seeing some of the results, mostly from people that are basically being launched, including, the blonde-haired teen, which she was a girl, by the way, Izuku would decide instead of getting launched, he would summon in, a large bird to basically act as like his flying mount. As everybody would see the large bird, they were pretty much impressed. So, after doing so, we basically see Izuku, basically going down from the sky and basically start attacking a few, beowulfs. And after defeating them, not really beowulfs, I meant, Ursas, I meant. And after defeating those Ursas, he would start leaving and would hear the sound of screaming. After hearing those, those voices, or, that yell or scream or whatever, he would decide to go towards that area and would see Weiss basically fighting against a few beowulfs, but she's barely, trying, because she seems to be weakened after a while fighting. And so Izuku decides to help and would summon in a clone army by using Shadow Clone Jutsu. And using, the Ashura path, well, let's just say they're pretty much easily defeated. Not only with that, he would also use the animal path to summon a large bear summon to basically protect them from the back. And after doing so, we see Izuku and Weiss being teammates from now on. And deciding to, give her some energy by using a soldier pill, and decides to eat some sandwiches on top of a mount that, they're currently, riding on. Specifically, a centipede-like one. So, after a while basically riding on the large centipede, and, they actually got sandwiches from, Scroll, which, at this point I'm starting to make him like an overpowered Naruto character, but either way, after, while eating and having a bit of fun, and, Weiss being a little bit shy, we see Izuku and, Weiss finally arriving at the ruins, where they start going towards, the ruins and would start grabbing their relics, specifically 2 different chest pieces. In Izuku's case, he gained the, king piece, and for Weiss, she got the queen piece. After grabbing them, they would also, see a few people basically coming out of the shadows. More specifically, the girl from last time with the blonde hair is basically on the stinger of a Deathstalker, while Pirate Nika is trying to save her. And then we see a familiar 2 people, one of them seems to have, have a pink streak on this black hair, and also has, somewhat pinkish eyes. And then we see a ginger-haired girl with, bluish eyes holding a hammer, which, Izuku would start to think that they're probably, maybe they're his, childhood friends. But he would also notice, Yang and the dark-haired, girl with the bow on her, a bow on her, on the top of her head, basically, running away from a few, beowulfs as well. And after, that, he would also see above them that, RWBY is basically, in the talons of a large nevermore. After, sufficiently thinking that this is the most weirdest day imaginable, he would decide to end it by basically doing a planetary devastation by literally, using, universal pull on every single, grim nearby, and would pull them and use them debris to basically turn them into a large pool, which is what planetary devastation does. And after doing so, he would transform his arm into, a blaster thanks to help of a sure path, and would blast the thing to smithereens. And not only that, apparently, Osmond and the rest of the teachers were also watching this, including some of the students. Including the students that were basically around him, like for example, Pyra, Ruby, Yang, and also, Weiss, which they're pretty much thoroughly impressed seeing his, power. Yeah, let's just say Izuku's definitely gonna have a lot of bitches, or in this case, maidens, if you get what I mean. So, yeah, after doing so, he would basically tell everybody, including Weiss, that they should probably start leaving. And after doing so, they would arrive back at where, the initiation was, first starting at, aka the cliffside of, of Emerald Forest. And after arriving back, the teachers were basically dumbfounded, including a teacher with greenish hair and, and greenish eyes, similar to Izuku, would basically start questioning him about that. But Izuku would basically, tell him that it was a bit too fast and decides to, to just end it off there. After doing so, they would go back to, to an auditorium or, the amphitheater to basically announce the teams and also showing Izuku's power to everybody. Yeah, let's just say a certain man with, brownish hair and a certain brown-haired and blue-eyed man seems to be quite terrified of him. And a girl right beside him with a, greenish mohawk would tell him that they should probably not, fight him. Like at all. And so we basically see them, and after announcing some of the teams, it was finally time for Izuku's team, which apparently is the first 5-man team. And apparently this team is called Team RWBY, consisting of himself, Ruby Rose, Vaishni, Blake Belladonna, which is the girl with the black bow and the black hair, and finally Yang Xiaolong. And after, going on stage and some of the people basically, fearing him now or somewhat respecting him because of his power, we basically ended the episode right off there, where they're currently now leaving the, amphitheater. And so, we basically ended off the episode right there. So, yeah, let us talk about what happens next, ladies and gents. So, we currently see Team RWBY, aka, Izuku's team is basically, finally arriving at their dorm room, as Izuku would say this. So, this is our dorm room, he would say, as one of them would say this, specifically Yang. It seems so, cutie, she would say, as Izuku would say this. Can you please stop calling me that? As she would say this. What? It makes sense. As after saying that, she would realize that a few of the girls are currently just glaring at her. Specifically, all of them. Specifically, Ruby, Weiss, and finally Blake. Which you would also, realize that all of them seem to be glaring at, mostly at Yang. As you could say this. Anyway, we should probably open the door now. As one of them would say this. Yeah, we should, said, Ruby. As when she did, she would see that the room seems to have only 4 beds. And seems to have, a few dressers and also, a few desks and also, 1 bathroom and, some other stuff laying around. As Izuku would say this. So, this is where I'm going to be staying, eh? And it seems that I don't really have it. There seems to be only have, it seems that we only have 5 beds, not 5, I meant only 4 beds here. So, as after saying this, she would say this, specifically, Yang. It seems so. So, I guess you're gonna be sleeping with one of us. As all of the girls would start blushing, except for Yang, which, instead of a blush, she has a little bit of blush, but a lecherous face on her, well, face, as Izuku would say this. Sorry, but I'm not doing that, he would say, as one of them would say this. So we're going to be sleeping then, said, Wise, as Izuku would say this. Well, as he would start grabbing his scroll, as he would say this. Now, release. After saying that, a large poof of smoke would happen, as all of them would start, waving away the smoke. After doing so, they would see a futon, which, in their minds is probably just going to think, yeah, it's sort of like a sleeping bag, but either way, they would say, how did you do that, said Yang, as Izuku would say this. Oh, scrolls. It's actually pretty easy if you're a seal master like me. As after doing so, he would basically grab one of the scrolls, as he would basically retract it, and would basically put it back in his bag. As he would say this. Well, this is where I'm going to be sleeping. Guys, you can just take, the other beds if you want. After saying this, one of them would say this. Specifically Yang. Well, that's disappointing, she would say. As, RWBY would say this. Alright guys, we should probably get some sleep. After all, tomorrow we are going to, our first class. As Izuku would say this. Yeah, RWBY's right. As, Weiss would basically just huff a little bit, as she would say this. Fine, we should be going to sleep after all. And after saying that, they would start leaving to, get ready for bed. They would basically change into their, sleeping wear, including Izuku, and would basically take off his, mask, showing off his, almost baby-like face, as all of the girls are currently, blushing except for Yang, but she's thinking, wonder if I can, slip into his, little, floor bed tonight, she would say to herself. As currently, Izuku's also wearing just a, tank top, which is black, but it's also pretty tight to the point that, they can clearly see, the muscles underneath, and, wearing a bit of, wearing some shorts, specifically, about, near his, knees, his shorts are basically near his knees, as all of the girls are, pretty much wondering what is going to be under there. Mostly the ones that are older, except for, RWBY, because remember, she's 15, and she's sort of, wondering what is, how does it feel to basically have a man other than her father basically sleeping with her. Not in that way, I swear to God! So, after, thinking of this, Izuku would say this. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna be getting some sleep now. So, night, he would say, as he would basically grab onto his, grab onto one of the, nearby pillows, as he would basically fall asleep. As all the girls would basically decide to go to sleep, all of them would basically fall asleep. The next day has come, as Izuku would decide to wake up early to basically go jogging. So, after, finishing jogging, and also, arriving back at the, at their dorm room, Izuku would basically open the door and, yeah, let's just say it's a bit weird, to say the least. He would see them basically on, ropes basically tied up. He would also see the used to be, beds, now, or at least 2 of the, 4 beds are currently literally just in a similar way to a bunk bed. As one of them would say this. Hello Izuku, all of them would say, as Izuku would say this. I'm not even gonna ask. Anyway, I should probably be making breakfast. In a few hours we're going to be, maybe not a few hours, but, in a few minutes, let's just say that, we have to go to school. As all of them would say this. Yeah, but, can you please let us down? As Izuku would say this. As he would basically do some hand signs, as he would say this. Shadow Clone Jutsu. After doing so, 2 clones would appear, as Izuku would say this to them. Alright, you'll go to the kitchen and basically prepare breakfast. I'll be taking care of this one. As both of them would basically salute to him, and they would start leaving to make breakfast. As Izuku would basically grab, not really grab, but more create some kunai thanks to help with his, of his, I guess you can say chakra, not really chakra, but more aura, to basically create these, knife things. more specifically, sort of like kunai, but, sort of knife-like. As after, grabbing them, he would basically use them to basically slash through the ropes and causing them to fall to the ground. Thankfully, the placed, wait for a second, the placed, bunk beds, or at least, makeshift bunk beds are not going to be loosened, as one of them would say this. You absolute idiot, Ruby, said, Wise, as Ruby would say this. What, I thought it was a great idea, and besides, we did got saved by Izuku now, as one of them would say this. Well, I do have to agree with, Wise this time. You're a bit of an idiot sometimes, Ruby, as she would say this. Anyway, Izuku, as Izuku would say this. As she would say this. What is that move of yours? The one that you basically create, clones? As Izuku would say this. Oh, they're called shadow clones. I'm basically able to, create them so I can, let's just say, I'm able to basically use them, like, for example, for studying. If they were to, move out of existence, I'm able to gain their memories. It's pretty useful in case of, like, stealth operations, intel gathering, and, for cheating on tests, let's just say that. As one of them would say this, specifically, Weiss. Whoa, that's quite amazing. And not only that, it seems to be quite beneficial. As Izuku would say this. Yeah, I guess you could say that. And, by the way, we should probably start, eat breakfast and start going to school. As they would say this. Oh, right. So, after, saying that, they would start going to the kitchen and they would start eating breakfast, which was absolutely divine for them. As one of them would ask, how did, Izuku actually make all of these? As Izuku would explain that he, let's just say, kind of learned during his time in the monastery. And sometimes even, made made some foods back in, a nearby village near the monastery to basically help out some, some survivors of a really, 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 really bad situation with some drugs at one time. And after, a while of talking, Izuku would basically tell all of them that they should probably, start leaving. After all, they're, about to be late. After saying this, all of them would start to panic as Izuku would say this. Alright, guess we have to kick into overdrive. As Izuku would basically grab all of them based off of, like, aura-based hands. Not really aura-based hands, but more like, instead, instead he's just using, universal pull, not really, to basically, grab onto them and he would start leaving to go to class. After arriving there in, a few minutes later, which, is, they're not really late, but thankfully they arrived, they would basically open the door as you would see Port about to, start class, as you would say this. Ah, Team Ruby, you finally arrived. As after saying this, Izuku would say this. Sorry for being late, Mr. Port. As he would say this. Oh, nonsense. Besides, we were just getting started. And after saying this, everybody would start, looking at Izuku and the rest of the girls. And some of the girls nearby, would start blushing. Because after seeing his face, no longer wearing the mask, well, oh boy, let's just say that. So, after, looking around and finding, some nearby seats, and conveniently 5 of them right next to each other, Izuku would start moving towards one of the seats nearby and would basically sit down there, including the rest of Team RWBY. And Mr. Porce would start his class. Mostly about himself for some odd reason. I mean, the story was interesting to him. I mean, he did listen. But most of the story was mostly about him doing his, so-called quote-unquote hero deeds. And even though, Izuku is able to create his own, how do I say this? Ah, yes! He's able to create his own version of, tree-seeking balls, which instead of made out of chakra, it's made out of, aura. Even though he's able to use them and basically sense if a person's lying, for some odd reason, he's telling the truth, which it was a bit unexpected, but it probably means that he's, that powerful. So, after a while of basically talking, he would say this. Now, can all of you agree that, that this story is about, well, how do we say this? About a huntsman being resourceful, and not only that, quite, resilient. Now, do any of you have these qualities, you would say? As, Wise would basically raise her hand as she would say this. I am, she would say, as Port would say this. I see. Then, I want you to try and test your skills on this, as you would basically bring out a cage, as this cage would seem to have something inside of it. As you would say this, I want you to fight one of the Grims, these beasts that we usually fight. As after saying this, Wise would say this, with pleasure, she would say. And if you're, how do we say this? She would say. And if you want to, you can, let one of your teammates join you. As after thinking about it, she would say this. Then, can you bring Izuku? And then, can I let Izuku join me in this fight? As Izuku would say this. Oh, sure, he would say. As he would basically stand up, as he would say this. Now, I want you to go into your, fighting, wear all of your fighting equipment, including, your fighting outfit. And after being told of this, you would start leaving to go to the changing rooms. After changing into their, in their, grim hunting outfits, or, their huntsman outfits, Izuku would be wearing his typical, like this, except he's no longer wearing a mask, because, he mostly wears that if it's in case, if it's like, when it's not really a battle type thing. He would mostly wear this if there's no battles nearby, or, if he's not going to be fighting. Because, it's pretty much useless, to say the least. Wait for a second, god dang it. Sorry about that. Anyway, so, as we see Izuku basically wearing his outfit except for the mask, Port would basically unveil the large cage, which seems to be, caging a large boar tusk, as you would say this. Now, you'll be fighting this large beast. Now, be ready. As after saying this, you would basically grab his weapon, which seems to be a blunderbuss mixed with an axe, as you would basically use the axe part of it, and would slice open the lock, causing the, boar tusk to basically ram into it, and would start, getting ready to fight them. As Easy would say this. Well, are you ready, Weiss? As she would say this. Yes, I'll ever be, she would say. As, wait for a second. So, as the boar tusk would basically charge in, Izuku would basically jump out of the way, as Izuku would say this. Now, as after saying this, she would start, using her sword, and would basically, not really sword, but more like rapier, as Weiss would start slashing it. Maybe, a few times, as Izuku would say this. Now, a sure path! After saying that, his arms would start changing into large guns, as he would throw the spear that he was wielding towards the boar tusk and breaking one of his horns, as he would start opening fire at it with, some aura, I guess you could say aura bullets, would basically, rip through it like, knife through butter, or in this case, bullets through, hot bullets through butter, in this case, as while it was being shot, it would start screaming out in pain, as Easy would say this. Now, let's try this out. As he would start creating two large axes, as he would start slicing through him once again. As he would say this, hey, it's your turn. As she would say this, right. As she would start, running towards it, and would thrust her sword, or, her rapier, basically, thrusting it near the, side of the, boar tusk. After doing so, the boar tusk would basically turn into dust. After doing so, Port would basically clap his hands, basically saying, "Wonderful! Absolutely wonderful! You'll make great hunters and huntresses. I can certainly see you as a great hunter and a great huntress, Miss Weiss and Miss Izuku. I meant Miss Weiss and Mr. Midoriya, as Izuku would say this. Ah, thank you. Anyway, Miss Port. I meant Mr. Port. As he would say this. Yes, as Easy would say this. Is there anything else? As he would say this. Oh, don't worry. That's all. Now, you can leave. After doing that, they would start, going back to their seats, as Port would basically end the class right there. So, after that, they would basically start taking class. As while they're basically leaving, let's just say, Ruby was basically asking her if she, if she's still being, let's just say a bit of a serious banter, whatever she's calling it. She's currently pissed off at Ruby for being sort of a sort of incompetent, leader. As well, hearing this, Izuku would basically tell her to at least, give her a try. After hearing this, she would just sigh as she would decide to listen to, Izuku. As after doing so, they would start to leave, going back to their dorms. So, the next class was just, battle class, which, Izuku would be there as Izuku would see, well, let's just say, a certain sight. You would see a man with brownish hair and bluish eyes. As, Glinda Goodwitch would just say this. Well, we're going to be having our battle class. I'm going to be your professor for this class. My name is Glinda Goodwitch. Now, for your first fight, you're going to be fighting against Mr. Carden Winchester. So, Carden, I want you to fight anybody here. And if you want, you will be, given a handicap if you want. As it is. Heh, sure. I'll go for... he would say, as he would start looking towards anybody, as he would look over and see Izuku, as he would say, nope, not going for him. He would basically start looking back at going back to, to the others, as Izuku would say this. Well, that was weird. As he would say this. Ah, I know. The little, the blonde-haired ditz over there. After saying this, the girl from last time, aka back in, the Emerald Forest, would say this. Oh, sure, she would say, as she would start getting ready to fight. As she would grab a sword and shield. Pretty classic, in Izuku's opinion. As they would start to fight. Let's just say it was a one-sided ass-kicking, and let's just say it's not really fun. Well, while during the fight, she was being battered and bruised by, Carden. And not only that, let's just say she was also being insulted, which Izuku was pissed off at. And after a while, Glinda would basically tell him to basically stop. And after doing so, he would say this. Fine. Whatever, damn it, he would say. As after saying that, the girl would start leaving with, pretty much a lot of bruises, which Izuku decides to, maybe try and comfort her, even though, he probably thinks that it's kind of a weird idea, but still. After, the class was over, he would basically walk up to her, as Izuku would say this. Hey, hello there, as she would say this. Oh, hello there, she would say. As, after seeing his face, she would start blushing as she would say this. What are you looking at me for? And why do you want to talk to me? As Izuku would say this. Well, I saw you during your fight with Mr. Carden. And I see that you're not really good at using your aura, like at all. I even heard Goodwitch that, that you probably have a, let's just say this, a pretty bad, way of basically, using your semblance, or, aura. As she would say this, well, it's sort of my first time actually using my aura, and I don't really have a semblance. As Izuku said this, I see. Anyway, just be confident in yourself. No matter what, don't let that guy, basically, let's just say pull you down. After saying this, she would say this. Sure, she would say. And after saying this, as Izuku would say this. By the way, name is Izuku. What's yours? As she would say this. Oh, Joan of Arc, she would say. If, the reason why I decided to go for that name is because, come on, he literally has a similar freaking name to Joan of Arc. Like, seriously, Jean Arc, Joan of Arc. Hell, they basically have a similar, night aesthetic. I mean, technically, technically Joan of Arc is the saint of Orleans, not a knight, but technically during the 1,000 Years' War, or at least, that's what it's called, or at least same thing, so it's been a long time since I actually, seen some lore about, Joan of Arc, something of that sort. But either way, she's technically a knight. Yeah. And she's even considered as a general back during that war. So yeah, I'm gonna be calling her, Joan of Arc in this world. Or Joan, Joan the Arc. So, after doing so, Izuku would say goodbye to, Jean, which she would start, saying to herself, why do I feel my heart racing on every single when I'm with her? She would say, as she would start holding her, her shirt or her chest, as she would say this. I hope to see you again, she would say, under her breath. So, going back to Izuku. So, we currently see him and the rest of Team RWBY at lunchtime, as they're currently, in the lunchroom basically eating some stuff. Well, Izuku decides to eat some, normal, Australian food, which is basically just Japanese food, by the way. As Izuku would start eating a few, well, let's just say, pretty Japanese-style food, which mostly consists of sushi, some, miso soup, and other, miscellaneous things, like, for example, rice. So, while he was eating, he would see, RWBY basically eating a lot of cookies, which he would start to think, how is she not fat? He would start to think in his mind, but either way, he would start looking towards, Weiss, which he started eating some, pretty expensive food. For some odd reason, Blake is basically eating a whole, fucking seafood, mostly freaking fish, which she's currently drooling at, and, Yang is mostly eating some meats. As while she was eating a sausage, she was do it pretty provocatively, to say the least, as Izuku would start turning away, thinking in his mind, is that girl pretty much that pervy, he would say in his mind, and he would start to think, why does she kind of remind me of Mineta, he would start thinking in his mind as well. Anyway, as after, finishing eating, he would start to look over and would start to hear crying. And that crying was coming toward, basically, coming from there. As he would start looking towards that area and would see Cardin basically, hurting a faunus girl with, with rabbit-like ears and brown, rabbit-like ears, brownish hair, and with brownish, eyes. As Cardin would say this. See, I told you they were real. As a girl with, as you would also see a girl right beside me, right beside Cardin, still basically pulling on the faunus girl's ears. As this girl seems to have brownish hair, almost similar to Cardin's, but a little bit lighter, dirtier somewhat. As she seems to have her eyes closed, similar to Izuku most of the time. She would also seem to be wearing a chest plate, shoulder pads, and also, some skirting armor. As she would say this, ew, what a freak! As another girl would appear, with bluish hair, somewhat bluish hair to him. You would also see another girl with, somewhat bluish hair and bluish eyes, wearing similar clothing to the other girl, but with, a furry skirt on her, on her somewhat, armored, skirting armor. As she would say this, ew, right. I mean, seriously, what is a freak like her basically here? I mean, seriously. As while they're basically doing this, one of them would say this, specifically, Weiss. Even though I don't really like foxes, I absolutely hate people. As one of them would say this, specifically, Yang. Yeah. As after seeing this, Izuku would say this. He would basically sigh as he would stand up from his seat, as one of them would say this. Wait, Izuku, where are you going? As Izuku would not say anything, as he would start walking up to them. Well, Cardin is, Cardin, aka, Winchester over there is still basically playing with her ears, or more specifically, hurting her ears, by the way, as he would say this. Who the hell is it? He would basically look over, hearing some people, or at least hearing, Izuku basically walking up to him. As when he did, you would see him, as he would say this, as he would basically, drop or basically lets go of her ears as you start, moving away. As Izuku would say this. Mind telling me why you're hurting that honest girl? As he would say this. Well, she was a freak. Yeah, she's a freak. Like, seriously, why is she even here? As before he could say anything else, he would basically grab him by the neck, as everybody would just be, surprised seeing this. As Izuku would say this. Now, Tsukuyomi. After saying that, he would open one of his eyes, as the pinwheel, the pinwheel of his, Mangekyo Sharingan would basically show up. As Carden would be sent to another world, or in this case, the world of Tsukuyomi. As he would say this. Where am I? And as he would start getting stuck into something, more specifically, he's crucified. As he would say this. Now hurting a faunus. Your sin, your punishment shall be death. But don't worry, you won't die, but you will suffer. And by the way, 1 second here is like a freaking day in this world. As after doing so, he would get stabbed over 1,000,000 times, as he would start, feeling a lot of, let's just say not really good things. As currently back in the real world, Carden is basically foaming at the mouth at this point. As Izuku, after doing that, after 1 second, he would throw Carden, towards the wall, as he would say this. Now, if I ever see you ever hurting that girl ever again, as his eyes, as he opened both of his eyes turn into, into their specific dojutsus, as he would say this. I will make you suffer even worse than him, he would say. As all of the girls would start, moving out of the way and would basically carry Carden. As they would start saying, we're sorry, we don't do that anymore. We promise not to do that anymore, I swear. As one of the girls would say that, specifically, the, closed-eyed girl. As the blue-haired girl would say this, yeah, we promise. As the, mohawk-wearing girl, or the mohawk, wielding girl, aka, the, green-haired girl would say this, yeah, we promise. Anyway, Carden, let's go. As they would start leaving, getting out of there. After doing so, Izuku would just sigh as he would look over to the girl, aka the faunus girl. As Izuku would say this, are you okay? He would say, as he would basically, go down on one knee, as she would say this, yeah, thank you for that. As Izuku would say this, well, I don't want to have a cute little girl like you basically getting hurt. After saying this, she would start to blush, as she would say this, thank you, but you don't really need to say things like that, she would say, as Izuku would say this. I insist. After all, I don't have a girl like you getting hurt by, barbarians like them, he would say. As after saying that, for a second, as after, saying that, she would start blushing even more, as Izuku would say this. Anyway, are you perhaps okay? Or as she would say this, yeah, don't worry, my ears are not really that hurt. But before she could say anything else, a person would basically arrive. This person seems to have a girl wearing the, the typical, like, school, the typical, like, yeah, a typical, like, Beacon Academy, like, uniform for girls, but she also seems to be wearing a simple, like, pretty fashionable jacket, and also seems to be wearing a beret and a, some sunglasses. Her hair was, brownish to fading into like a somewhat like orangish color. And she would say this. So, did you try and hurt, Coco over here? Did you try and hurt Velvet over there? As Izuku would say this. No, I just saved her from, from bullying from Cardi, he would say. As she says. Is it true? After saying this, she would say this specifically, the girl known as, the faunus girl known as, Velvet, as Velvet would say this. Yeah, it was, he sort of saved me. You don't really need to hurt him, Coco. He just saved me from those guys. As she would look over towards back to Izuku, as she would say this. Because you saved Coco, not Coco, I meant. Because you saved, Velvet, as Velvet did say that you actually saved her, I'll somewhat believe you for now. Anyway, as she would look over to, Velvet, aka the flawless girl, and would basically, grab her by the hand and would basically bring her up, as she'd say this. Thank you for saving her. And, by the way, your name's Coco. Coco Odell. As Izuku would say this. Oh, call me Izuku. Izuku Midoriya. As she would say this. Oh, that Izuku Midoriya. Are you perhaps the Izuku Midoriya from the, the so-called, prodigy? As after hearing about this, Izuku would say this. Prodigy? I never really thought of myself as a prodigy, but I guess you could say I'm sort of one. As she would say this. Oh, don't be so humble. Besides, I saw you during the, the entry sounds. I even saw the, video that's currently going viral right now. As Izuku would say this. Excuse me, what? As she would say this. Yeah, look. As, he would see that, the video would basically be seen. As the video currently has a lot of views. And that video was of him basically using his, his planetary devastation move. And, doing some of his, battle-like, attacks, including some of his moves, including, some of his abilities, and his dojutsus. Yeah, as Izuku would say this. I didn't know this, as she would say this. I didn't know that. Anyway, if you, have anything else to say, then go ahead, as Izuku would say this. Anyway, I just wanted to protect her. After all, I'm not really the type of person to basically hurt any, random fawners out of spite or anything. As after saying this, she would say this. I see. Anyway, by the way, if you, have anything else, and if you want to have a job, then call me. And if you want to have some extra money, then maybe go to my, go to our dorm. I've been looking for a new model, she would say, with a somewhat seductive smile, which caused, some of the girls nearby to start, becoming a little bit mad, including Team RWBY itself. Oh boy. So yeah, after doing so, she would say this. By the way, goodbye, she would say, as, Velvet basically started following, Coco, as she would say this. Well, that was interesting, he would say. And after doing so, he would basically start to, go back to his team, as one of them would say this. As after, Coco left with, Velvet, she would basically, yell, goodbye, she would say, and thanks for the help, as Izuku would say this. Oh, you're welcome, he would say. As after doing so, he would basically go back to his team, as currently, his team is basically looking back at Velvet and Coco, basically, with instant glares. They're currently glaring at them, as Izuku would say this. What's happened to you guys? As one of them would say this. Oh, it's nothing, said, Wise, as one of them would say this. Yeah, it's really nothing, said, wait for a second. Said RWBY, as currently, a pretty, somewhat, yandere-ish, not Belle, I meant, Blake would say this. Yeah, it's nothing, she would say, basically getting ready to use Gamble's Shroud right now. As currently, Yang would say this. Yeah, don't worry, Izuku. After saying this, Izuku would start thinking in his mind, yeah, I'm not really comfortable right now. After saying this, we go back to, to a somewhat normal class day. And so we basically see them just going to their normal classes, and after doing so, we basically see them, getting ready to, go back to their, dorm room. After arriving at their dorm room, one of them would say this. So, who's making breakfast? Who's going to be making, dinner? As Izuku would say this. Guess I'll start making dinner then. As one of them would say this. Oh, sure then, Izuku, one of them would say. As Izuku would say this. He would say, as he would start, stretching his back, as he would say this. Now, summoning jutsu. After saying that, he would summon a pretty small bird, as you'd say this. So I want you to buy something. As after saying that, the bird would basically chirp a little bit as it would start, clearing its throat for some odd reason, as it would say this. Sure, master, he would say. As everybody would start looking at the bird, as one of them would say this. Wait, hold up. Did that bird talk? Said, Ruby. As Weiss would say this. Yeah, explain this, Izuku, she would say. As Izuku would say this. Well, most of my summons are either just mindless monsters, or in this case, the smaller ones are mostly smarter and know able to talk. As one of them would say this. Well, that's certainly interesting, said Blake. As Izuku would say this. Anyway, I want you to buy me some eggs, some cheese, and also some, noodles, specifically, spaghetti noodles. As after saying that, it would start to leave, going into the window, and would start flying off. A few minutes later. So, we currently see the bird basically, arriving back with the ingredients, as one of them would say this. So, what are you making? As Izuku would say this. You'll find out. As he would basically tell them to basically go back to the bedroom, and would start, cooking up, something. So, a few minutes later, currently, Team RWBY is basically doing their homework. Izuguri did his, which is somehow pretty impressive. And, after I saw that, she would say that it's pretty much perfect. Like, all of the answers are already perfect. As, after, a few minutes later, they would smell something. It smells pretty good. As one of them would say this. Whoa, I smell something really good. One of them would say this. As one of them would say that. Specifically, another girl. As one of them would say this. Yeah, it smells really good, she would say. As after saying that, we currently see all of the girls basically sniffing the air as they would start following the scent. And it was coming from the kitchen. As they would see, some pretty delicious dishes. Specifically, in each plate, there were, some, wait for a second, some chicken, basically just like, what do you call them? Basically like, chicken, basically like one of those like, basically like chicken nuggets, basically, but, fresh. And they would also see right beside the chicken nuggets were some carbonara. And if you're wondering, no, instead of like, the Filipino style carbonara, it's actual carbonara. I'm sorry. But my Filipino, people from the Philippines know, or at least, in my country, let's just say I'm not really, fan of carbonara, or at least, the Filipino version. I mean, it's still pretty good, but I really want to try the, original version from Italy, or, somewhat similar. Maybe by, maybe to, a budget somewhat. Anyway, continuing on, after, seeing the food, they would start getting ready to eat, as Izuku would say this. Alright, dig in. As after saying this, all of the girls would start shouting down, as, RWBY would say this. Wow, it's so good, all of them would say, in unison, as RWBY would say this. Yeah, it's so good. Like, seriously, how did you make this? As Izuku would say this. Well, let's just say I'm pretty good at cooking. After saying this, all of the girls would, finish up their food, as one of them would say this. That's pretty good. As, Blake would say this. Yeah, it's so good, said one of them, said Blake. As, RWBY would say this. Is there dessert? As Izuku would say this. Sure, and it's just for you. After saying that, he would basically grab some cookies, as she would start chowing them down, as he would basically grab, some leftover cake, specifically chocolate cake, as, all of them would basically start eating it, as one of them would say this, specifically, Yang. Damn, he's the perfect husband. All of them would, all of them would basically say in unison, as, currently, in Yang's mind, she would say, can't wait to have some fun with them tonight. Or, like, she would say in her mind, as Izuku would say this. Why do I feel like I'm being threatened? In his mind, So yeah, so as after finishing dinner, they would start getting ready to go to sleep. As when Izuku basically go into his like little futon, he would basically fall asleep pretty fast. But nearby, one of them would start getting out of her bed and would start moving towards Izuku's futon and would start stepping closer to him and would basically start to hug him. And she would say this. Good night, she would say. And we're gonna be ending off the episode right off there. So yeah, I'm gonna be ending off the episode right off there, and so I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye!